So I think that is it optimal? No, probably. But because of having 3 kids, running multiple businesses, and still wanting to perform, like at the end of the day, the uninterrupted time in the mornings is so key. Yeah. Because if I try to train, even when I do those little workouts at 12, my phone's ringing.
Yep.
You know, my wife needs something, my kids, like I feel like I can go all in. And look, I get a chance, like here's the deal, like daily strategy is so key for life. And I talk about this all the time, like, like my consistent daily strategy equals what I've accomplished, I feel like.
Don't you even think about rolling back over today. Wake your ass up. 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 Wake your ass up.
Yeah, let's go out to the block and see the sunrise. Let's go out to the block and see the sunrise. I've been gone chasing circles inside of myself in this apartment, and I don't know when I started. Look me in the eyes, tell me if I'm still alive. On the block looking up at the sunrise. Yeah, I see you.
Alright, today we got, I'm gonna lead you guys through Get Stacked 15, shoulders, and some GPP. So, unlike most, and what I used to do, but I just changed, we're gonna squat at the end of the workout, which makes it more fun, Alex. So we start off with 10 GHDs, which not the sit-ups, the hamstrings, the GHR. Toes to the bar, non-kipping, sets of 10, 3 sets for a warm-up. Now we're gonna go into handstand push-ups strict and band pull-aparts for rear delts. We'll do 3 sets to failure. Well, we'll go 20 reps on the band, 3 sets on the handstand push-ups. Then we're gonna do strict pressing, alternate, meaning touching the chin, touching the earlobes, which it's kind of grimy, it's a good one. Some bodybuilding stuff for rear delts and frontals. This one right here, the arrows, tees, and presses. One of the most humbling things we're gonna do today for your rear delts and for your upper back. Finish off with some GPP, farmer's carry, sled drags backwards, and then front squat, box squat against bands.
I'm probably gonna start.
Such a spirited brat. The demons coming after my neck. Never feed on what the fuck you expect. Watch what you project. My head hang high, eyes hang low. I can see through fake niggas with my eyes closed. It's a long road to toe when you dead broke. Stretch my pocketbook from Tennessee to Oslo. So I prosper and I breathe. I feel peaceful. How I league oceans of intellect to keep my people healthy. Eating off sun's blessings, getting high in the evening. Yeah, but my memories be deceiving me. Yeah, but my memories be deceiving. Yeah, so I be on drugs from here to everywhere to show me from catching another feeling. Yeah, let's go out to the block and see the sunrise. Let's go out to the block and see the sunrise. I've been gone chasing circles inside of myself in this apartment, and I don't know when I started. Look me in the eyes, tell me if I'm still alive. On the block looking up at the sunrise. Yeah, I see you, see you, see you, see you, see you.
Get up, get up, get up! Nice! Good job. Woo!
After the episode, head over to iTunes or the Apple Podcast app if you have an iPhone, or the Stitcher app if you have an Android device. Go ahead and subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that. Enjoy.
Head over to ShruggedStrengthTest.com and take our free 3-day strength test. We'll send you 3 days of testing that takes about half an hour to about an hour each day. Each day you'll get exercises that we're going to walk you through, showing you step by step what to do. Once you finish the test, submit your results, and then we'll send you a bunch of feedback showing you where we think you could be stronger and then how to fix certain weaknesses that you might have found. Head over to ShruggedStrengthTest.com to get started.
Which
Let's
one?
say it again.
Isaac Hayes.
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah, all the classics. The Stax music. It's just up the street.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
I
on.
love Al Green.
What's your favorite Stax song?
I can't remember that one song, but it's like all instrumental. I can't remember how it goes, but Spotify has a great Stax playlist.
Little Otis
Yeah.
Redding?
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Otis Redding
yeah.
too. Ooh, I'm about to check that out. All my posing
Let me see
music
if I
when I
can
did
find
bodybuilding shows is the Al Green. So it's always like some ladies in the crowd be like, "Ooh!" as soon as you hear the Al Green drop.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
What y'all know about?
Uh-oh, this guy right here.
Welcome everybody, I'm your host Mick G, here with Alex Macklin and CTP. We got a brand new show coming your way. Lots of juicy nuggets here to brighten your day. To the Barbell Shrugged podcast.
I'm going to have to edit this shit out. He's been
That
waiting.
is the way you start the podcast
He's been
right
waiting
there.
so long. How long have you had that?
Man, I don't know. It's been a
I
couple
thought we
months.
did that before.
I did
We do it in the car all the
Yeah.
time. Just
Dude, that
on
was
the
so
show.
good. So
my God.
good.
Oh,
I'm
man.
surprised I didn't fuck up the lyrics. But
You did a
You
very
you could have
good
threw
job.
That was
Corey's there.
good.
We got
Dude.
Cory Gregory.
That was good. Yeah,
we can do it again.
I
Yeah.
had the beat on the table, though.
got
I had the beat on the
Koichi
table,
Fitness.
man. Yeah, man. I was ready.
follow on Snapchat.
My man. That was good, McGee.
All right, guys, what's up? Welcome to Barbell Shrugged. I'm your host, Mike McGoldrick, here with Alex Macklin,
Hey.
CTP behind the camera, and
What
mic'd
it
up
do?
again,
What did
becoming a new thing. And our very special guest today, Cory Gregory.
Cory G.
What's up, man?
I'm back.
Welcome
I'm back.
back.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
This is our first time interviewing you.
First time on our turf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Alex and I interviewing you. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
You've been here for a couple days now. We've trained a
Absolutely.
little bit, and got to shoot the shit. And
It's been fun, man.
What were the past episodes?
It was 170. That
170.
was the first one.
Yep.
That was in Columbus, Ohio.
That was a
yeah,
great
that
show.
was- it was crazy. It's like a year ago. It was like
Year and some
like,
change.
That was
Yep.
So much has like changed in a span of a year.
Yep.
Actually, I listened to it. I was driving back from Gulf Shores and I was listening to it in the car and it was just it was such a great episode. And then you were on 188.
188
Yeah,
Venice.
Venice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So, for those who haven't seen those shows, and give us a little background on it. And
Sure.
Where you come from and what you
So,
do, man.
Cory Gregory, fitness entrepreneur is the way I kind of like describe myself now. It's been, I started my first gym at age 20.
Yeah.
And I'll be 38.
Yeah, you were doing personal training.
Personal training, yeah.
And then you started your own thing.
Yeah, so I've been young in the game. I haven't had a W-2 job since I was an underground coal miner when I was 19. So, the fast track of the story is I grew up only liking to lift weights. Where I'm from in the Ohio Valley is a pretty depressed area. It's mostly blue collar. A lot of the industry has left over time. And, I'm growing up thinking, well, I don't like anything I'm learning in school. I'm in study hall writing workouts. The only guy I know that lifts weights and gets paid, he owns the gym locally, but he still has another job.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it like, man, I'm in trouble because I really didn't have a path. And finally, one of my buddies said, G, there's that job called personal training. You should move to Columbus, which was a couple hours away. I found a community college that had a 1-year program.
Yeah.
And I was like, I saved my money coal mining basically to open my gym and to go to school. And I saved about $20,000 in about 6 months working 90 hours a week.
Oh,
so I was on,
You're on the grind.
well, that's a real grind, right? And what's crazy is the ceiling is about like working underneath this table, 40 inches. So I'd be shoveling on my knees for like 13, 15 hours
I
onto
was
this
just about
belt
to ask.
line.
Tell me about that.
Oh, dude.
How early were you up each
So
day?
that's actually a funny thing because my stepdad who got me the job in the coal mine, like we had to start at 5. So, I'm up at 4 and I used to say to him all the time, like, yo, when I'm done with this, like there is no way in hell I'm getting up this early. Now I get up at 3, right?
Yeah, because I was just saying,
I asked that,
yeah, because you get up like super early and train every single day.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I just realized that I was more, effective. You know what's so funny is about that is like in coal mining, like it's dark all day. You just got your cap light, right? So it's like working in a job with no windows. And so I would get up and it's dark. I'd go to work and it's dark. I'd work so many hours, and when I'd get out, it was dark.
Yeah.
And I tell the story about, like, I was going to see my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time, Rachel, and I got out actually at quitting time once, which was like 4, and I hadn't saw the light in like almost 3 weeks. I was like nocturnal, homie. Like my
it's like
eyes.
that meme, like that with a goblin, like with the little whatever Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Dude, that's exactly. I was literally trying to drive to Cleveland, and I had to pull over because my eyes couldn't adjust to the sunlight. I was like Dracula, bro. And so it was like one of the things, like I didn't realize I was literally putting in so much work towards my goal to be a guy that just gets lift weights and gets paid. Like that's the thing is, when I'm 17, I wanted to lift weights and get paid. I'm about to be 38. I want to lift weights and get paid. Nothing's changed. It might have looked different at all different times, but that's just my love and impacting people. So that's what I've been focused on forever, man.
So you were on the show, let's see, a year ago, and you were talking about squat every day and all that kind of stuff. So what have you been doing since being on the show? Since last year?
Yeah. So training wise, like I've embarked on a couple different things. I started putting more Olympic lifting into my thing.
I saw that.
You know, one of the goals of mine
We
is
like that.
Yeah, I know you guys do.
How was that? Like, what was your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, like let me tell you my experience of overhead squatting first, right? And so everybody that's watching this, like I go to the local CrossFit gym. It's called Always Forward CrossFit in Granville, Ohio. It's on the east side of Columbus. And I go in there, and I know some of the people from the town or whatever, and I'll dip in every now and again. And it was a program. It was like overhead squat for 10, superset with pull-ups, and something else. Well, the load was like 95 pounds.
Right.
And so I got this lady that I know. She's a masters competitor locally. She's real cool. Her name's Amy. And she's doing like 75 or 85. She's in between RX and a little bit over RX. And she's smoking it, right? I can't hold 95 pounds over my head. She's
challenging,
killing me, right?
Yeah.
Because my chest was so tight.
Yeah.
I could not. I mean, it was the most humbling thing. And so literally a year ago,
Did you ask if you could squat like this?
Oh, dude, I would have been way better if I could have like frontal raised it up.
Yeah.
And so I was so humbled by that to realize that my mobility was that bad that I was like, you know what? I need to really clean this up if I have any shot at competing. And that's when I made the goal. I was like, you know what? I need to plan and do one Olympic meet. And then what that became was, I saw this bodybuilding show was going on. Then I like kind of set up. I was like called the local CrossFit gym. Was like, can you hold an Olympic meet?
Yeah.
Then we were hosting a powerlifting meet that Sunday, and I was like, oh, here it comes.
Here it goes. Yeah. Well, was that your first kind of entry into the CrossFit world?
Well, I mean, when so going back to squat every day. Every time I would go to the CrossFit box, I was better the longer I squatted daily because my mobility, I had never front squatted before. I never high
Did you
bar
overhead
back squatted.
squat on the squat every day?
I started to towards the end.
Okay.
And so I started programming it in. And still my overhead squat to date, my best overhead squat's only like 215 because it's more mobility.
Still pretty good.
Not bad. My best snatch is 205. So it's
That's
like
still really good for your size.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like it's getting better. I've landed 225 3 or 4 times. Just couldn't get up because my overhead squat wasn't strong enough.
Right.
So I just got to build that capacity up. More handstand push-ups and more things I'm programming within my bodybuilding stuff that we did. I think we'll
maybe
lend
more
to that.
Mobility work
Yeah,
as well.
more mobility work,
Did you ever do any mobility work before, like when you're in bodybuilding days?
I met Kelly Starrett like 2009 or 2010, kind of early in the Muscle Farm days. And so he started like showing me some stuff early. And when I get really jacked up, I call him.
Yeah.
I don't use that number very often unless I really need it.
Hey, Cory got Kelly on the speed dial.
Yeah, I do. Like when I had
Kelly, my trap, I can't activate
Does he just reference you to the M1 videos?
He does, but he'll tell me specific ones and kind of exactly what to do. And he'll be like, "Look, if you fly here, I'll help you." He's been great. Like I said, I don't use that card very often.
Yeah.
But Kelly, I appreciate you, brother. Like he's been great for me, and he was early days. I kind of met him just in my travels, and he's been great.
I've learned a lot from the guy. Yeah.
I mean, to self-treat yourself, it keeps you in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt.
He started a revolution in movement and like self maintenance basically.
And he's added so much value to people's lives. I've learned a lot off that guy. I mean, to shoot a video every day for a year, it blew him up.
Yeah.
It's not that. I mean, he's just added a lot of value. So I've picked a lot from him, and I've tried to emulate similar types of stuff, and it works.
Cool.
It works big time. So look. here's the thing is, Olympic lifting humbles you. I did a little bit of cleans in high school, but trying to land, so when I set up the muscle trifecta, we'll kind of go into that for a second.
That's what you're calling this thing.
Yeah, the muscle trifecta was
which is, okay,
Olympic lifting meet on Friday, a bodybuilding show on Saturday, and a powerlifting meet on Sunday.
That sounds so fun.
No one is. Hey, listen, I don't know anybody that's done all three. Now I've seen people do, like Charlie did
the
powerlifting,
and super total,
yeah. And then Travis has done some stuff like
super
that.
totals, yeah.
But no one had done the bodybuilding.
The bodybuilding is totally. Yeah.
And not just physique, because I really think a lot of people could just jump in board shorts and get it done. But I wanted to be like all the way leaned up, right?
Right.
And so when I told some of my friends, I was like, look, I'm going to try to pull this off. So I called the local CrossFit gym, my buddy Dennis Capstone's gym. I said, look, can you guys get a platform? Can you guys do a meet for me? Like, it's not sanctioned, but can we get, have everybody sign up? Let's run it like a meet so I can get that experience. Mm-hmm. The bodybuilding show was already set. It was literally 10 minutes from my house. It was a drug-tested show. And then the powerlifting meet, I was like, hey, we always have 60 to 80 lifters at Old School. It's a Westside certified gym.
That's your gym?
That's my gym. And I was like, let's put a meet on Sunday because I could control that, right?
Yeah.
And I always get all the Westside dudes come down to help and everything. So it was set. Now, I was a little nervous telling people about it because I was like, what if I bomb out on my snatches? And I always explain it like I was by far the most nervous for the Olympic lifting because I had never done it before.
Right.
Yeah.
When I woke up the next day, I was the most surprised how I looked pretty good on Saturday. Mm. And then
Saturday, the
bodybuilding, and then
okay.
the mentally challenging part of coming off stage dehydrated to lift heavy on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you just eat like crazy?
Yeah, so I had to blow it up as much as I could. And so I can normally weigh in at 181 and lift at 200.
Yeah, I
want
to ask
but
how you prepped for each one of these. So, like, what weight class did you lift in the Olympic lifting, and then what you did directly after that to get ready to be as lean as you could on stage, and then how you basically bulked back up.
Well, you probably have to be already lean.
Yeah,
like you can't really just you can't just go in there like completely looking like the Marshmallow Man.
Right. I wanted to make sure I belonged.
Yeah.
And so my thing was to say about the weight classes was I tried like the weight class in bodybuilding like I normally make is 174, which is middleweight, and I knew just by the way I felt I ended up weighing 178. And so that made me so I was a smaller light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And in the drug tested shows, a lot of times as the guys start to weigh like 190, they start to look a little softer. So I look because I'm a little bit older. Once I get on stage, I probably look a little bit bigger than 178.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? Here's my thing.
I'm just looking softer, just a little bit more body fat.
Yeah, they usually aren't as tight. I mean, if a guy comes in 190 and shredded, he's going to win the show probably because that's pretty big for a drug-free guy.
Yeah.
And so like most of the guys are like middleweights basically. And so I figured like, look, if I can run my dehydration like right at borderline, but be able to catch a snatch on Friday night and not get hurt, my PR snatch was 205, but that's when I weighed 200 pounds. I'm weighing 178, and the funny thing is like I landed 170. I'm not cool enough to talk in kilos, y'all, so I'm talking in pounds. I land.
Hashtag
170. That's 77 kilos.
All right,
basically.
so I land. So I was the most nervous. I land that. Boom. I'm pretty excited about it. So I jumped to 185 as my second lift.
84 kilos.
84 kilos. That's fine. I land that. Now, this is where it gets kind of tricky. This is my second lift of the entire weekend. When I catch 185, my right leg, which is my strong leg, I have a bum. I ripped my labrum on my left hip like in 2010, squatting in a suit like 700. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, so I land 185. For some reason, my right
new suit. Damn thing didn't work.
Yeah, no shit. So I land 185 and my right leg buckles. So when it buckles, all the load goes to my left side, and but it comes back to midline. So I grab it and it's split. But if you watch the video, you can see it. So I get up from it. And it I don't know if it stretched like my MC. It did something.
Yeah.
So I wore a light wrap on 200 for my third snatch, and I landed it, but it just, I think I basically had like a minor injury, and I couldn't get out of it.
Right,
so
gotcha.
so I honestly think I would have matched my PR. I know it actually. And then so I come out of that and I'm like, all right, Cory, I could feel that in my knee, and I still had a long weekend left.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell anybody, but I was like, all right. So I clean and jerk, like I opened up, and I power clean and jerk the first two. I think I went 225, 240, and then I ended up like my best clean and jerk.
102.
Yeah, my best clean and jerk's 280 in the gym, but I clean and jerked at the meet just 250, just to like live another day.
Right. Well, I mean
and I made 5 out of 6 lifts.
Yeah,
so.
I mean you're prepping. It's not like you're just prepping
that.
for the weightlifting meet.
Yeah.
You have the weightlifting meet. Then you have the bodybuilding show, and you have the powerlifting meet. So it's not like you can just go in there and expect like I mean
everything.
I mean you did really really well.
I thought so.
For having to do all the other stuff and having to prepare. So like, did you have to like complete like what was the process to like get up to that point?
Yeah.
Like,
So for most bodybuilding shows, I'll run pretty low carbs, mostly just vegetables and protein. And I started taking dandelion root usually like 5 days out, which starts to like dry you out a little bit. And basically, it's a natural dehydrant, right?
Okay.
And so I started it later because I didn't want to be super dehydrated when I hit the platform, and that thing started at 5 p.m. the night before.
Yeah.
So I wore something like in between the sets, like to kind of keep me sweating. So that kind of helped with me dehydrate a little bit on purpose because I was hyped for the meet and it was warm and everything. I started taking my dandelion root that day, so my body was starting to release water, but it wasn't fully dehydrated yet. By the time I was done sweating at the meet, I took like 2 more doses before I went to sleep, and that's when I say I woke up the next day and was surprised. So I had no clue what I was going to look like when I woke up. So I wake up in the morning to go weigh in for the bodybuilding show, and I wake up, and that's the most nerve-wracking thing as a bodybuilder. You wake up Saturday morning, and you hope that you're dry, you look good, because there's nothing you can do at that point. You're just in, right? You can't do an extra curl. It doesn't matter. I woke up, and my legs were separated, and I was like, now, they weren't as tight as they would have been because I was on them working out the night before, because once you get blood in your legs, the separation is not there as much. So that's one thing that, like, usually you don't train legs about 4 to 5 days out of the show because you want all the blood to get out of them so you can be separated. So that was one thing. I was a little soft in my legs, but for the most part, they look good. So I woke up, abs are looking good, whatever, and I'm like, weighing 178. I'm like, all right, I'll be a small, light, heavy, but it's a 24-hour weigh-in for the powerlifting meet, so I get to weigh in for both, which is pretty unique. So I weigh in at 178. I'm a small, light, heavyweight. I get there. There's 5 guys in my class, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I got this. Like, this will be cool, right? Now
I'm surprised that many people did it. That's crazy.
There's about
that's
60.
A lot of people.
There's 60 people in the show, so it was a decent sized show. It's real close to my house, so I get through the Olympic lifting meet, and I'm feeling good about life. I'm like, all right, that's my first one.
Over.
Yeah, that to me that was the most nerve wracking by far, and I had a little minor injury, but I was all right. So I get
high risk for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact bodybuilding is like what I did first. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I look lean. I'm like, let's do this. So I get out there, and I'm like, all right, I think I got my class. And I scoped. I'm like, there's one dude that was a lightweight, who weighed 155, that was pretty jacked up. And I knew pretty much, I was like, I'm probably going to go against this dude for the overall title.
Okay.
And so I win my class. I'm feeling like, dude, it's a trifecta. Like, I'm feeling good, right? And I win my class. I look pretty good. I think if I'd have made 74, I probably would have won the show, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I will tell you, squatting every day and all those lunges, though, I don't do traditional cardio.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I was lean enough to stand on stage by just squatting and lunging. And so my legs, like, I had a lot of guys that know me from the area. They're like, gee, man, you brought your legs up big time, dude. I'm like, well, shit, I've been squatting for 1,000 days in a row. Something ought to fucking happen.
You would think so.
Yeah, right. I mean, and all the lunges help the conditioning, like in my glutes, separate, like my glutes and my hamstrings. And so I get up there, felt full, felt good, and I'm eating Oreos all day, right?
Right.
Because I'm getting ready for the powerlifting meet, but no one knows it. So, like, all these people,
what are you doing? You celebrating early?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I'm starting to load. So I'm getting veinier. I'm getting fuller.
You're carb loading.
I'm carb loading.
You're carb loading for the show.
Kind of like sugar loading. So it's like it's pulling all the water into my muscle. So I'm starting to.
You getting Because that's what I was talking to a friend of mine, and she does like physique or like bodybuilding, and we're talking about how like sometimes people will take in like Pop-Tarts, and they'll take Pop-Tarts and they'll go in the show and they'll just start pounding them. Because that's gonna pull the water in.
It does.
If you don't time your carbs right, you're going to look flat on stage.
And so I had such a hard time. I'm very insulin sensitive. So for me to carb load like some of these guys do a couple days out and time it to where it hits at noon when you hit stage, it's really hard to. You got to be dialed in. For me, I can eat like 2 sleeves of Oreos, and it starts pulling in the water, and I start looking nasty, man, veinier and fuller. And so I'm thinking, I'm about to win this show. Like, I'm pumped, right? This is the second time in a row that I've got second in overall. It sucks. Last time it was to a heavyweight, and this time it was to a lightweight. So I go through, and so here's the thing here's where it got a little tricky. I didn't foresee that I would look good enough to be in the overall title, to be quite honest. And so I was on stage probably an extra half an hour killing myself trying to win this thing. I'm going to get it. Like, all these people in the crowd know me because it's local. And so, like, I didn't get off stage till like 8:30 at night. And the powerlifting meet starts the next morning at 9. And so, and I'm in the second flight of squats. So, dude, I get through and I am beat. And I just couldn't. And I was actually going to try to take a bag of fluid, but I had ate so much sugar, I couldn't even get it in. My buddy came to my house and he was like, gee, like I don't know what'd you eat? I was like, well, I ate like 30 Oreos. He's
Plus
like,
all that flexing on stage probably just got you just like massively fucking
So
pumped.
I had planned like to try to take 1 bag of saline just to like get, because I knew I was so dehydrated, but honestly I couldn't even do it. Like it literally wouldn't even drip.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. And so anyway, so I started just Gatorade, some creatine, like started just rehydrating as much as I could and just started smashing food. And I went from 178, which I classified to the 181 class.
But you already had weighed in.
I'd already weighed in.
for the powerlifting.
So I woke up the next morning at like 189, 190.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And I'm a really good bloat guy. Like I can get 15, 20.
How much weight did you gain?
So I went from 78 to 90.
Oh wow.
12.
Yeah.
I usually weigh in at 181 and lift at 202.
How'd you feel that next morning?
So body felt great because like there was so much water on me, and I've been dehydrated for like almost like a week.
Right.
My chiro met me at my gym in the morning, and dude, I just felt tired though. Like my body itself, like once I got loosened up, but I'll tell you what was weird is my nervous system was all messed up. Like my first squat, it's funny because there's this high school kid, he was in my flight, right? We're warming up, and I'm gonna tell you what, 225 on back squat. Like my body was not awake.
Yeah.
It
you
hurt.
went from Olympic lifting meet, which is pretty
very
draining on
high
the nervous
yeah,
system.
high CS.
And you didn't do anything to recover that because you had to stay lean.
Yeah.
So coming in for the third day, like you were probably just like
in doing isometric flexing for like
5 hours.
In Speedos for like 5 hours. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I get in, and here's the thing is, my gym was like the old school gym meets are so awesome. It's like it reminds me almost like the 8 Mile Eminem video, but only in lifting. There's like 100 dudes jammed in the gym. We get the chairs, and it's like
White Rabbit and what's his face doing a rap battle.
it's so raw, like, and so I get hyped for it, but I'm warming up, and it's just like my chiro's helping me out, but it's like not activating. Like I'm struggling with 225, like in the warm up room. So I start to loosen up a little bit, and I call for 405 as my opener, and I'm just like, all right, let me squat 405. So I squat it. But when I'm coming up, it just doesn't feel that good. I mean, and it's feeling rough. And my buddy looks at me like, "What are you going to next, G? Like, you don't look like
But
you're."
you made it though.
I made it. I made it. So
406.
So I go 440, which I usually jump like 50, 60 pounds on squats. So I call 440.
Is this raw?
Raw.
This
Yep.
is
Just
raw,
belt
okay.
and knee wraps. So I call 440. My nervous system starts pinging a little bit here. So I get under it, and I start taking aggressive. My dude from West Side, Tony Ramos, always helps me out. He's always in my ear like, motherfucker, it's time. Like they bought the tickets to the show. Like, what do you got for me? Like, you know.
Can I download that?
Oh, it's amazing.
I need one of those.
Hey, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
I love having that dude help me out. So here's what happens is, so like I don't want to say I smoke it, but it's more like myself at 440. So I call 480, and so I sit down. And they got Ghostface going, like we're big Wu-Tang fans in my gym, and Ghostface going, and I'm rapping it. I'm like feeling. I look at him, I'm like, fuck it, man. I want 500. Like
There you go.
Like I want.
30 to 10, might as well. Fuck it.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
so. I'm like,
know.
I knew I could make 480,
Right,
and I knew
right.
500 was gonna be like right there. And I said, you know what? I want the narrative to be when I come to Barbell Shrugged, when I go and talk about this, like I want people to know during the trifecta, I squatted 500 pounds.
You've been waiting to talk about this, right?
Yeah, dude, I was hyped, right? So I'm put in my head, this is how it works. I'm like, 480 is great, but 500 at 178.
It's just a much more round number.
Man, it's so much better, right? So I look at my dude wrap my knees. I was like, look, bro, you wrap these things the tightest. I don't even want to feel my patella. Like I want the thing to be so tight because I'm gonna take this thing and I will go to the hospital if I'm willing to like roll the dice to that level because I knew. Dude, I hadn't squatted over 405 since I had got hurt in December. Like my QL was kind of messed up off my last meet. So we're talking, this is April. I hadn't taken anything close to 500.
Yeah.
Especially not that depleted.
Yeah.
So I unracked 500 pounds. I'm all hyped up. My whole crew's getting crazy. I unrack it, and we have a monolift. Well, because I haven't had it on my back in a while, it starts coasting back. So I look like I'm walking it out, but I'm not trying to. So I do all the things you're not supposed to do. I'm taking 2-3 breaths. My head's going all over the place. And my dude almost went to grab me, and I looked up, and dude, everybody had their phones out, like the whole crowd.
Yeah.
And so I just went, and it was like, F it, right? So I get in the bottom, and when I'm coming up, it's starting to bend me over a little bit, and I literally in that moment was like, I will break in half And if I don't get, and I just kept fighting it, and as I knew when it was budging and moving, I come out of that bitch, I was gonna rip down the monolift, I'm gonna send CTP the video. Like when I rack that, when I rack it, I'm grabbing the monolift. I turned that bitch up.
I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know if you got it or not. I'm so glad you did.
I'm so and it's like it was such a gut check moment for me when I was coming. I was like, this is like how you put your staple on stuff.
Right.
Like if I failed in that moment, one, it's not near as freaking cool, and I just didn't show up. And I love the fact like to be on display. Like, gee, they're here to watch you today, and they bought a ticket to see if you could pull this off. And when you can like show up on game day, to me that's what I teach in my house.
So much
man.
about competing is just showing the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you came to do something, and you either do it or you don't, and you gotta. It's that mental aspect.
All mental.
Do you use that nervous energy and use it as a positive?
Oh yeah, I
performance?
remember we did a CrossFit competition in St. Louis, and you were coaching Shireen. And she was like, the warm-up area is so crazy. And then she posted a cap. She's like, use that crazy. You told her to use the
that's
crazy.
What it is.
Use the crazy.
Yeah, that's what it is, that adrenaline. So I was like, I think when I made my mind up, when I called 500, I knew that it was going to be right there.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I probably had no business taking the weight.
Yeah.
But my nervousness, and I felt it previous. There was days where I opened at 500 at 181.
Sometimes you just know.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I think your training, the style of training that you do, we were talking about this earlier, with the squat every day, you stop fearing weights. You stop, you've lifted heavy every single day to a max intensity.
Yep.
And a lot of it is just your mind just telling you can't lift this.
Yeah.
And if you do it every single day, your mind's going to say, I can fucking do this.
I got this.
Yeah.
And I was like, and plus when you look up and you're on, like, the crowds like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like if you crumble in that environment, man, and I got these dudes from West Side yelling at me and all this, like, I feel like if I crumbled then, I was just a little bitch.
You look over and everyone's deleting the video.
Yeah, exactly. Like, man, this punk.
That's the worst, man. That's
this
the
is
worst.
a punk.
Because I've done that. I've been at the Arnold. I've been watching people and they miss. And I'm like, man, now I gotta delete that one. Like, oh man, the worst was 2015 weightlifting nationals. We went to Houston, and Lou Xiaojun, like one of the best 77 kilo lifters, fucking bombs out.
Man.
Like bombs out his clean and jerks. And I'm like,
didn't he set a world record in a snatch?
He did. I think he set a world record in snatch before that.
Or something?
Yeah, or something like that. But like bombs out, and I'm like, man.
It was because I was there filming.
Yeah, I know.
My one chance.
I didn't want to be
chance.
like that guy. I didn't want to be that guy.
I got a question about the powerlifting meet. I've never done a meet. Did you have a big sigh of relief after the squat was done? Is the squat the most challenging?
So it is
the most technical in a powerlifting meet?
I think it is if you don't squat every day. For me, it's like so for me, it's deadlift, right?
Yeah.
Now, really, here's the problem with me is I had built up such a capacity last December that I went in this what squat every day has helped me with. I had 2 elite totals that were one at 181 raw and one at 198 raw, and dude, my deadlift was like right at 600 pounds before I got hurt, and I really got hurt on just the fact that I think the meet I was doing was long.
Yeah.
I don't think I properly hydrated all day.
Yeah.
I opened at 540 on my first deadlift, and it was so fast, I almost fell over, jumped to 600, and I was like, dude, there was no question. I was probably going to pull 620 that day. Like, I just felt fucking strong. But I think my foot might have been off a degree, and I think I just didn't hydrate enough. So I was still battling back for that injury. So I was still the most nervous for deadlifting.
Okay.
And so it's like, for me, squatting is like.
It's going to depend, yeah.
Yeah, it's squatting, and then my bench is always in between, like, because it's a pause.
Yeah.
It's always in between, like, 3 and 350. So, I mean, I did 315 that day, and then I pulled 500. So I went 1315. Well, I went here was my thing is my best total at 181 was 1400, which is an elite raw total. And so I wanted to be within 100 pounds of what I would be if I just did that. Yeah. And I did 1315.
Now, I was going to ask you, like, you train, you definitely you do some variations of squat every day.
Sure.
But what about, I mean, if you're training for powerlifting, what about the bench and deadlift? Like, how do you incorporate that into your training?
So I do a conjugate deadlift move once a week also. So, like, last week we pulled with, which I kind of took from the Olympic lifting world, was I had a 3-second pause at my knee.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next week after that I might pull sumo through bands. I keep that also at a conjugate on a 4-week
for the listeners,
system.
The simple thing for conjugate is to switch into
just a different variation
just
every
different
week.
variations,
so,
using bands, chains.
And then once you
deficits,
go through,
like that.
deficits are huge, and we go deficits with bands, which is always hard. You know, I mean,
Fuck yeah.
I was at one point I was pulling 405 through band tension at a deficit like it was a joke. And over time you build up to like just a capacity that when you go to do a weightlifting, like it just, you feel so fast, bro.
Right.
And so we do the same thing with bench too. So right now we're doing more of a bodybuilding style bench, lots of incline, lots of stuff like we did yesterday. But I rotated all through. So that's why like the bodybuilding and powerlifting worlds kind of like mixed together, and now I got this little CrossFit kind of component with some of the bodybuilding or bodyweight stuff, and it's neat.
Well, I mean,
it's fun.
The best bodybuilders are not fucking weak. They are
strong.
So,
they're strong. Yeah.
I mean, so it's not too much difference between that. It's just,
No. Hold up real quick, guys. We'll be back in a second. Take a little break.
Oh.
Cool.
Sorry, pimps. I had to do a little battery change there.
What were we talking
CDP
about?
had to go take a shit.
You were
That's
talking
what
about
he
squatting.
I didn't have to take a shit. I mean, I like shits. I'm not against shit.
I'm just fucking.
I just didn't have to take a dump.
All right,
Alex just kept asking about abs. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
That's all I wanna know.
Sorry I cut you guys off. We had to take a little break. Change the battery out. Alex, Cory, what were you guys talking about for our show?
Yeah, what the fuck? Dive right back
I think
in.
we were squatting,
Well,
powerlifting.
We were talking about the trifecta.
Yep.
The trifecta. Now you did this on your own.
Yeah.
The muscle trifecta.
The muscle trifecta.
Do you want to try to actually bring this?
So there's actually been some people that have hit me up and be like, "Hey, is this like a thing now? Like, can I enter to do it?" I think it could.
I feel like I kind of want to do it now.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I think. Here's the thing. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been almost 20 years in the game. I needed something that was going to move the needle for me that was just different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing was like, how can I challenge myself in all three of these things?
Huh?
Y'all keep going real quick.
Yeah. How can I challenge myself to do something that's going to get me out of bed on fire?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't do that. Like, you got to make sure, like, what is your goal right now? And why would you be motivated as the first year that you lifted weights?
Right.
And that's what I'm always searching for. Like right now, I'm getting ready for Muscle Beach for a photo shoot. I got an all-day photo shoot and video shoot at Muscle Beach. Besides the podcast we did there, like that's a dream come true.
Yeah.
I'm going to go act there like Arnold for a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I got to find something that moves the needle, and I think people don't set up those goals enough. Like, what is going to put you on fire?
Yeah.
And the Muscle Trifecta got me up every day like, man, this is a challenge.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to do it, you better.
Because once I tell people about it, it all automatically put me on blast.
Right.
And so now they're expecting me to deliver. They're expecting me to look good and squat 500 pounds and land a snatch. Like,
because you see, and that's not really. Yeah, you see a lot of really, really strong people.
Yeah.
But then they don't have the physique that goes along with it. And I mean, ultimately, if you're talking about people, general population who wants to get into fitness, they want to be strong and they want to look good too.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, and honestly, I was right in the middle. You know, I had left Muscle Farm. I was working on a new supplement line. Like, I needed some like pretty strong environments to test my new stuff. Because at the end of the day, like, application is the key to me, and that's what I've told everybody. Like, I can get into the science crap. I'm not the best at it, but I apply things as I go through my training. I'm the leader of the business. I'm showing it. So like, I wanted to do something that was extremely hard on my body to test the way that I was doing things.
Man, using
that
yourself
was
as an experiment.
Yeah,
like,
I'm my own
the best
test
way to
subject.
learn about yourself.
Absolutely.
So as a segue into that, I wanted to ask you about this anabolic fasting concept, because this is something that's I only heard it from you.
Yeah, I kind of created it.
That's why I guess I only heard it from you. But yeah, I mean, tell us about that.
So I learned from a really smart guy named.
This is your nutrition.
Yeah,
this is how you do your
I call it my nutrition lifestyle, which is at CoryGFitness.com. But anyway, so I talked to and learned from a guy named Dr. Eric Serrano. Dr. Eric Serrano learned from Dr. Mario Di Pasquale, who wrote a book called The Anabolic Diet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Anabolic Diet was, man, it was written like 80s, 90s. He wrote in Powerlifting USA for years.
Yeah.
They call him the protein doc, all kinds of different stuff. And so this is what happens. Most bodybuilders go through this diet process for 12 to 15 weeks, and then the night of the show, they eat everything in sight. And they usually look better the next day because, like, they can't time it. But there's such an anabolic effect when you load those carbohydrates, and usually it's at night too on top of it. So they're eating all this food, their body's reacting, all the hormones are spiked. So he's like, how do I create a diet plan that does that weekly?
Yeah.
And so it's all about insulin stability, loading carbs at the proper time. Now, Doc Pasquale's diet had kind of an Atkins feel to it. Everybody loves bacon, I get it, but it had lots of bacon, lots of cheese, and so there was a lot
high fat.
Yeah, high fat, but some of the fats I wasn't really down for, like long term. So I took pieces of that diet I really liked. And I call it with a Cory G twist some of the carb spike areas I liked and elevating hormones at a certain period of time. And one thing he taught me was when you spike insulin properly, GH and test comes with it.
Right.
Okay? Now, on the flip side, everybody had been asking me about intermittent fasting online like crazy. And I had never given it a real shot before. I was like, you can't recover from that. Like we talked about earlier. I haven't ate yet today.
Yeah. We just trained for like 2 hours and Cory has not eaten. I'm like, how is this possible?
Just some branch chains,
Some coffee.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's part of it. So when I was creating the line, I was able to say, okay, do I need 10 grams plus 5 grams of gluten? Like that was part of the deal, right? So anyway, I gave intermittent fasting a true run. Well, by default, I ate how I normally eat, which is similar to the anabolic diet, but I've had my own changes. So when I meshed them together, I was, I just started getting leaner. I started feeling good. Then I was like, get ready for a shoot, and I was like, I could get ready in 4 weeks, but my numbers were still going up.
Your
I was
strength
like,
numbers.
yeah, my strength numbers are still going up, and I'm looking better, and I'm like, ooh. Then here's the key. I love jalapeno potato chips, and I like dark beer. Sam Adams, Guinness, jalapeno like kettle chips, tacos. So I figured out, I was like, all right, you know what? Now I'm going to do what Pasquale talked about.
We like a lot of the same things.
Yes. So I'm talking about, all right, so now on Friday night, I'm a family man. I got 3 kids. They want to go eat ice cream. They want to go and they want dad to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So how do I balance being a regular guy and this maniac fitness dude? Because that's what it is. And I really didn't have that good of a balance for a long time, I'll be honest with you guys. And that's something I've worked on. So Friday night,
you were either too
I'm all in, or I'm fat and I'm powerlifting.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Yeah.
Where's this in between?
And this
feel?
goes perfectly with the fact that you have muscle trifecta. You want to be strong and you want to fucking look good.
So it all kind of came together at one time. So here I am. I'm smashing 9 tacos on Friday, about 4 beers or whatever. Or I'm sorry, let me back up. I'd go tacos and and some ice cream on Friday. I'd wake up, my pump would be nasty. Yeah, exactly. Right along with Chris's thing. I'd get up, my pump would be nasty on Saturday. I'd go through again, and then Saturday night, I'd go 1 meal plus 4 or 5 beers. Sunday, bring it back tight again to the protocol. Monday, boom, I don't look no different.
So what is the protocol?
So the protocol is you mix and match the anabolic diet with intermittent fasting. Now, I can't give you all the specifics because that's kind of like my business at this point at CoryGFitness.com, but we really like 2 quality meals a day plus a spike before bed. Now, the key is figuring out where your window is, and it's usually 12 to 16 hours. So there's a lot of mix and match where somebody has to go. I teach it over probably 12 or 15 videos on my website, and so people go all right, where does they have to sit down because everybody's a little different. Where's my window? Is it around where I train? Is it not where I train? What do I use to eat my carb spikes before bed? The key is insulin stability, and we don't weigh anything.
Right.
That's the other thing. I'm tired of everybody dude, listen, exactly. So, coming from the bodybuilding world, people
it's all, measured food.
Dude, my brain doesn't, and there's part of the reason why I like the conjugate method and not percentage-based workouts is my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And so, if you're telling me I need, this many ounces of stuff, I'll give you a rough estimate. I opened up a package of burger and I ate, 3/4 of it, whatever that is, but I go and eat on how I feel.
Okay.
And so I literally, I might eat 10 ounces of beef one day. I might eat 7 the next day. I might eat 16.
Yeah.
So really what's cool about this diet thing is, it's a lifestyle. You don't have to think about it. There's guidelines you follow, and you get to be a little bit more normal. Now, I just cut back on those cheats a little bit when I'm getting ready for stuff. But, dude, it's literally – that and squatting and lunging has literally changed the way I do things.
So basic premise – oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and you know what? They're you've done the work beforehand. You've done all the weighing and measuring and counting for years. So it's not I don't think everyone could probably take that now and apply it because they really don't know their body as well yet as you do. So,
but you
have done the work for years. Yeah.
You figured out.
But I like the fact that you tried both, and then you meshed the two to figure out, because that's what nutrition really is a lot about, is figuring out what really works for you.
Yep.
And it may work for you, it may not, but at least you tried.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
I feel you got to weigh and measure at some point, or else it's like going to the gym and you don't see the plates don't have 45s written on them. Well, so it's how am I supposed to know what this chicken is if you never?
What I try to teach people is that you have these guidelines, and your body's gonna give you back what you give it. So if you skimp and you don't eat enough veggies, like the next day your performance is gonna suck. And a lot of people are like, I've done multiple videos on the carbs, the fats, and people are like, I can't do that because it's too low of carbs. Well, I think like my normal carb intake is probably about 120 a day. It's not real. I mean, it's low.
Yeah,
but it's not
low.
like
for as much volume as you do. But
that's probably why I'm so lean, right? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, and we talked about this earlier. I think shit's been messed up for a while in the bodybuilding area. Like, I do all these volume workouts, which are a mix of all worlds, but really emulating the 70s style volume. People always assume that you have to take drugs to recover from something like that.
Yeah.
Now, what I'll tell you is that because I believe I optimize when my insulin's raised and when it's
you
not.
optimize your nutrition. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That I don't sleep that much, so I kind of can cheat the system a little bit. But what's happening is these guys have read these bodybuilding magazines for all these years, and Arnold and those guys had it right, I believe. Right? That's what changes the body. When they're reading the stuff now, 3 sets of 8 ain't changing your body, yo. Like, it ain't happening. In my mind, the volume, the supersets, like when I first met Arnold, that's why I was like, man, we got to bring it back. Like, kids don't even know what a superset is. Like, that, like, burned me at the core. And so when people come into my training programs, even if they do 3 sets of what we did 4 of, or 2 sets, they're going to change.
Yeah.
And so if you're following the thing that's in muscle and fitness, I'm sorry, but it ain't changing your body. The reason why CrossFit's done so well is because it's constant varied.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what mine is too. It's just different. So it's like you got to bring some A game in the gym if you want. You can't be. You got to be uncomfortable.
And so you're saying people aren't switching it up enough, and they're not just doing enough overall work.
Absolutely.
Well,
That's
you
what
have
I
to
think.
you have to stress the body if it wants you want it to grow. You can't sit there and not put the body under any kind of stress and expect any kind of gains.
So people come to my programming. I superset the shit out of them. We keep it different.
Superset meaning like doing one exercise and then immediately going to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. Low rest, different variables. Like, look, I look at weightlifting like this. It's tempos, it's angles, and it's just constant varied. Like, and it's different. So if I'm changing that all up, and we got you lunging a little bit, and we get your nutrition guidelines in check, and you just follow.
Yeah.
You're going to figure it out and learn. Because here's the thing is, the reason why I don't write this stuff out and you come to the website and learn it from video, like I go whiteboard straight to teach it, I want you to learn your body. It's an education.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not giving you a diet plan. I'm teaching you a new lifestyle.
Yeah, that's really the most frustrating thing.
Yeah, I'm not writing shit for anybody.
A lot of people, they just like, well, just tell me what to do. I'm like, yeah, we could do that, but you got to understand what's going on. Like,
well, and I tell them what to do, but I'm like, look, I'm going to tell you what to do on this. Like, I'm not writing it out. Just follow 6 ounces. Like, because it might be 12 for you and 16 for this guy.
Right.
Like, I feel like there's an education piece that I feel obligated to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's
how we that's
key.
how we
like
how
to
we
teach.
Yeah, for sure.
It's key, right?
For
So
sure.
that's why I won't give it away right now, CTP.
The anabolic fasting, is there types of workouts that you would not recommend using that with?
So that's a good question. So I've had some high level, like Connor Murphy from Reebok One. I worked with him a little bit during the Open he wanted to try anabolic fasting. He liked it. We have a mass protocol that has way more low glyc carbs at night. And so I use that for CrossFitters.
Say that again.
So we have a anabolic fasting for mass that if a guy's not doing a bunch of Metcons, that he'll probably put on weight slowly, quality weight.
Okay.
But for a guy that is doing a lot of Metcons and that type of volume 2-time workouts, we load lower glycemic carbohydrates at night with the high carb, like high sugar spikes.
Okay.
And so that does help.
Vegetables and things like
so
that.
more like
low glycemic carbs.
Low glycemic carbs.
Sweet potatoes, oatmeal, those type of things.
Gotcha.
But plus with
lower,
with like some type of fruit spikes and fats. So we change it a little bit. So like there's a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm following to get stacked, but I'm getting ready for half marathon. And I'm like, look, you need to be on the fasting protocol. Like, you wouldn't believe the combos I get on my site.
We believe it.
Yeah, right.
We fucking get it all the time.
Yeah,
it's like, I want to do the triathlon and I want to go
be jacked.
Yeah, like we get it all the time.
So I get the same thing. So
we're
it's
on
like
a 10-year plan.
Yeah, exactly. So I always recommend that. And I have the traditional, like some people, the fasting's not for them.
Yeah.
They can't stay hydrated. They're not eating enough vegetables. Like they
how do you
need
control
the
the hanger? I get.
Well, here's what I'll explain. When you do it properly,
Please do not convince him to do this.
Hey, this is dumb.
We do not need him.
But here's how you do.
hangria.
Here's how you fix it though. When you fast, I believe it turns your stomach into the natural size it's supposed to be. The actual size of the stomach cavity.
The size of the stomach is actually very, very small.
Exactly.
It's not.
So we have stretched it out, our society, over time because we eat so much food, right? So when you fast, I believe over time it shrinks it down. And then when you eat what I tell you to eat in the guidelines and you fill it up with that quality nutrition, you're not hungry. Like I'm not hungry right now.
Yeah, so I'm on board with that because
that makes sense, right, Mike?
Yeah, I've never done an intermittent fasting or that kind of the anabolic fasting protocol, anything like that.
Sure.
But I need to try it because I wake up like with high energy every day, and
That's good.
It is hard for me to eat all morning long. Like I do not like to eat.
You might be perfect
and,
for you.
Yeah, so I mean, even now after we trained, we got up at 6 a.m. or we trained at 6 a.m. I went and ate, and I was just like, gosh, I just have so much energy in the morning that I would rather. I like to eat more at night, especially before bed. So
here's the thing.
Like right up my alley.
If you raise your insulin and you dive, you're going to have less energy. So that's the thing is like a lot of people all day long, they're like, all right, man.
Yeah, it crashes me.
Well, here's what's funny is people are like, well, that's not healthy if you don't eat breakfast. I'm like, well, what the hell are you eating for breakfast?
Right.
Oh, well, I'm getting at the gas
cereal.
station. Oh, okay, yeah.
Fucking
exactly.
Taco Bell burrito.
That's what I'm saying. So,
waffle taco.
So your croissant which you bought from the gas
waffle taco.
Yeah, Taco Bell breakfast.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. So like your croissant which you bought at the damn gas station, like that's better for you? Like come on, man. Like a Lucky Charms.
What? Taco Bell has breakfast?
You didn't know this?
He's in now. He's in.
I didn't know that.
What?
I didn't
That's
know
old
either.
school news, man. That's been around. Ask Kurt.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail. That
No,
completely-
you're fine.
You completely threw me.
Taco Bell has breakfast, and McDonald's has breakfast all day now.
So
don't eat it.
that insulin crash though is why everybody goes like this at 3 o'clock. They're like at their desk, like they had like pasta
man.
for lunch,
Yeah.
you know. So like if you control insulin, you control how you feel, you control how you perform.
Right.
And so that's why like people that even carb load for like say they are doing anabolic fasting, they're like I got a 5K. We carb load them the night before. It's not the day like they don't eat carbs that morning. Like you don't want to change that level and be the guy at your desk that's like nodding off. Like that's not it. So it's all like keeping that in line, man. It's key.
So this would not necessarily be so. Like after training, you would not necessarily say, well, you need to eat a meal because there's a whole, a lot of the research that talks about anabolic window. Like, and
so I
kind of be.
As always, I'm against the grain. So I've never been the guy that ate gummy bears post-workout. Because what happens is I'm insulin sensitive. I get that crash. So I'd eat that. I'd be like, carb spike, waxy maize or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah.
So for me, branch chains, that's why I built my formula. 10 grams of branch chains, 5 grams of glutamine, boom, gone. Eat at 12. Keep everything stable, eat at 6, have my carb spike, wrap.
The BCAAs are just there to keep the proteins
anti-catabolic.
Yeah, anti-catabolic, right. Coming into the system.
Because there's no caloric value to them. They're just the building blocks of protein there to preserve muscle. And like what we just did, you do need that.
Yes.
But I don't want to bring them calories in on top of it. And so like it's been wild. Like my wife will tell you like I'm just so much nicer during diet phases. My performance is still good. It really has helped me a ton.
I've seen people get results. And one of the guys who used to be in our programs, I'm gonna give a shout out because I asked him because he's a big fan of yours, Mike Sass. I don't know if you're, but yeah, I asked him, what should I ask Cory, and he wanted to know about that. So and he looks great, man. He was in our muscle gain challenge, and he put on a lot of strength and a lot of muscle, but but he wanted to cut some of that fat that he put on, and he was having trouble, and he did.
It works. So here's the thing: is I want to drink beer too.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be
kind of
normal.
He's got a kid.
You know what I mean?
He's got a kid, and he's in medical school, or he's a doctor.
What's the first meal you will have today then?
So I'll eat at 12 o'clock, and I'll look at some type of protein, vegetables, and a fat.
Okay.
Yep. So I can't give you any more than that, Mike.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I don't want to give the sauce.
Like higher carb, low,
No,
whatever.
literally, my carbs, I keep insulin stable all day. My carbs don't come till night.
Gotcha.
So I'm the complete opposite of how I started this business. Like, I used to think, like, can't eat carbs before bed. I was all into the 5 meals a day. Like, if you'd have told me when I was 22 that I'd be eating this way now and having this kind of results, I would have told you you're crazy.
Yeah.
It's so contrary to what I was taught, what I did for years.
Right.
It's so wild, man.
Yeah, I want the listeners too to keep in mind that like you're using this based on years of experience and trial and error and experimentation on your own body, and you're only doing one session a day, right? Do you ever train twice a day?
Sometimes I do, and that'll usually, like we talked about, like I might switch it to an EMOM type thing. Maybe that's sometimes where I put my lunges or I'll do some extra core work. But
so later in the evening, or
usually like lunchtime. But I would say like 90% of the time I train in the morning because I got so much business going on that that's pretty much it.
Right.
So real quick, what are you doing now? Like you're training now. Like I've heard you're trying to go to the CrossFit or doing CrossFit.
I would like to do. So here's my thing. I'll be 38 in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I would classify as in the 40s, like in about 2.5 years or whatever. And so as you'll see my programming, I'm putting in more body weight stuff, trying to learn more of the skills.
The skills is what we were talking
about
earlier.
And that's what I'm going to start to incorporate. You know, I got a Concept 2 in my basement. My whole thing is like, I can't go all in right now because that's not really my jam. Like I'm not.
Right.
That's why I need to learn to love more things about it. But I'm making a slow transition because I'm always going to be a bodybuilder and powerlifter probably at heart. But I want the challenge of to see if I can make it.
Yeah.
Like, do I think I'm Rich Froning? No. Do I think I possess the skill enough to potentially make it and compete? Yes. It's just you have to put some time in it. And I really think, like, once again, it comes down to moving the needle. What's going to get me up every day on fire, and this will be a brand new challenge for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about
40
it.
I wonder
to 45?
Masters 40
You know what?
to 45.
And that's awesome to hear because you have a few years planned and you're anticipating. It may come sooner than you want, but you're anticipating. You're ready to be patient and give it time.
It's gonna take time
and not rush it and want it overnight.
I'm not the guy like, look, I'm confident about my ability and what I do now, but I know that I got a lot of work to put in, and it's going to take time. And if I rush it, I'm not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And so like, and I still want to keep the bodybuilding stuff.
A lot of time.
Yeah,
like I'm
does.
diving into it now
Yeah.
and like learning the skills and practicing every single day. These things like. It's a lot of time.
Yeah, so I'm heading that direction, and I think that would be an awesome challenge. And I signed a deal with Reebok, so they'll be supportive to help me with any coaches I need outside of it. Like, you know, Austin and James have been great supporters of mine, too. Like,
Austin Maliolo,
okay. James Hobart. Like, those guys I've known.
We've had Austin on the show. We've had James on a couple times.
Yeah, you need Austin. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, like,
met him a couple
that's
times.
the thing. Like, I've got the support there when I want to go all in. And in Columbus, Ohio, where I live, that's where Rogue's at. There's plenty of athletes there, too. So there's plenty there, man. It's like, I just got to learn to love, like, them nasty, like, AMRAP chippers,
well,
man.
It's a change in mindset.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, especially those long ones. Or even the short, the short and intense ones.
Yeah.
I can't. Those just
So,
burn
look,
me
I
so hard.
like being a novice and having to really, like, put some work in. I mean, it keeps it challenging. So that I definitely am there. There's guys in my local box that whoop my ass when it has anything to do with running. That's one thing I'm really bad at.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of work to do, but I'm sure I'll be back on talking about it soon.
I wonder if we'll see like in a year maybe we'll see like the muscle quadfecta, like with the CrossFit, with the CrossFit and the bodybuilding and the weightlifting.
Be surprised,
dude. That would be insane.
like on Monday morning, you got a CrossFit.
Shit.
Hey, if anybody could set it up, I could.
Hey, Cory, I wanted to ask you about. I know you don't get a lot of sleep, so you said you just changed your workout schedule to 4 a.m.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing is, like, I worked out at 5 a.m. for like forever, and guys were late. It was taking time to warm up. We switched to 4, I think, because it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Ain't one dude been late. It's been a month. Everybody's lifts are going up. Everybody's excited. We're walking out of the gym at 5:30 to 5:45. We were just getting warmed up for squats because we just talked about, we switch our squats to the end of our workout. Like, we're walking in right to shoulders, right to arms, right whatever it is. And you know what? I'm just going to bed at like 10:30.
So your average sleep time is what, 5 hours or so?
Yeah, 5 hours.
And so talk on that.
I'm so soft.
So it's obviously not optimal, but I want you to talk on, being able to make do.
So
I think I've read somewhere that the whole 8 hours of sleep is kind of bullshit.
People go back and forth. Here's the thing, like, I talk about how on a couple episodes before how I was around Arnold, and dude, I saw the way this dude operates, and I've talked to his kids about it. Like, they're like, look, Dad, we'll fly overseas. He'll sleep 4 hours, and he's like knocking on the door, like, want to go take a bike ride. Like, it's just one of those things. I think that I really believe I can cheat the system a little bit because everything else is so optimal. Like 95% of the time, my nutrition, my supplements, and the sleep that I do get because of my carb spike, I'm crashed out.
Yeah.
I'm knocked out like REM sleep for 5 hours.
Got
like,
that
you're not waking me up like tornado.
Says,
and still wanting to perform. Like, at the end of the day, the uninterrupted time in the mornings is so key.
Yeah.
Because if I try to train, even when I do those little workouts at 12, my phone's ringing.
Yep.
My wife needs something. My kids, like, I feel like I can go all in. And look, I get a chance. Like, here's the deal. Like, daily strategy is so key for life. And I talk about this all the time. Like, like, my consistent daily strategy equals what I've accomplished, I feel like. So, like, I get up at 3. The personal development starts as soon as I'm out of bed.
Yeah.
Like, as I'm in my car driving a half hour to the gym, I've listened to you guys, Lewis, Travis, whatever. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to audiobooks. We got a new book called Entrepreneur or Wantrepreneur. Like, I was working on that in the early.
That.
Yeah. You guys, it'll be released here pretty soon. You guys can check it out. So basically, I'm getting a half hour on the way to the gym. I'm training for an hour and 45 minutes. Back in the car, another half hour of personal development. When I get to the track to lunge for like 20 minutes, more personal development. So now I'm like, dude, I've studied for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I've trained for almost 2 hours, and it's 7.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed this morning,
That's
man.
the best feeling.
Dude, amazing.
It sets the tone for the day. And
Yes.
I tell clients this all the time, like, and even myself, I try to be better about it. Like, you get up and you get what you want to do
Yes.
first out of the way, and it just makes the whole day better because
Dude.
you've already gotten done what you want to do. Now when work goes wrong or whatever else, it doesn't matter. You were able to do what you wanted to do that day.
Yep.
You had your own time,
Yeah.
your special time, and like
It's important, man.
now the day is just gonna be better.
I'm telling you what, I feel like I can smash the day. I walk out of the gym with so much confidence at 5:30, like I'm ready to kill
I feel
the
like
day.
you saved my sanity because when we did the first episode,
Yeah.
I got inspired after filming it, and I went back home and I started waking up at 5, sit in the hot tub while listening to audiobook, drive to do a walk, and then train
huge,
right
man.
away. And I think if I didn't do that, I would have lost my mind at that time. Just
I'm telling you,
because
man.
like you said, you get all your shit done and you feel good walking into the day. You're like, it's only 8 o'clock,
That's the
and I got
best,
a
yeah.
whole day ahead of
It's
me.
unbelievable, and I think that there's no way I could operate at this level if I didn't have that. Like, to me, sleep is just like that mandatory 5 just so I can, like, stay awake. Like,
Yeah.
and people are like, don't you nap? I'm like, no, I ain't got time for that. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm so, listen, I feel so blessed for what I get to do every day.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Now, I have to have things like moving to CrossFit, doing the Trifecta to challenge myself, writing these books, doing the site. Like, I need to be challenged to keep up. But, like, I love it so much, and I feel such a responsibility with the platform like you guys have given me today or I have on my own, like, that it's just, like, I can't get enough of it, man. I love what I do.
Yeah.
I
mean,
just do.
that's what, man, every time you say that, I think about this motivational speech I heard on YouTube. It's like, this dude, he's like, I think 50 Cent said it. It's like, sleep is for motherfuckers who are broke.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I'll tell you one
know?
thing I'm scared of. Like, I've mentioned this before. I'm scared to go back to what I started at. Meaning, trailer costs $100 a month rent. You can't get the new kicks that you want for your kid. Like, I'm scared, even though my parents worked hard, they just, like, couldn't get it over the edge.
Yeah.
And I'm so scared to have that happen to me. And I know it's not going to because of things I've set up from the wealth I've created for myself. But, like, every day I get up with, like, and I talked about this before, how do I change generations of my family? And if I develop people, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's
I think
what I'm doing.
I think that's more what it is. I mean, it's the fact that
I don't want it to happen, man.
I think if you have that drive, it never will.
No, it won't. I won't allow it to.
Yeah.
But it's like, but I still have that, like,
You'll fight and claw.
yeah, absolutely. And no matter what adversity I follow, like, or run into, like, I know there's a solution. I'm going to get through it because I've been through so much, man.
Man,
It's crazy, right?
Yep. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah,
man.
I think that's good to end the episode on.
So but before we go though, you talked about a couple of things coming out, the Entrepreneur book.
Yeah.
Tell the rest of the listeners where we can find you, and a lot of the other things.
So
you do.
here's what we got going on right now. We got
Anything else you wanna share?
CoryGFitness.com has all my programming. The Anabolic Fasting, if you want to learn more about that, it's $9 a month. Like I always tell people, eat one less burrito a month and learn from me. You know, pretty good. Entrepreneur, the new audiobook with John Fosco, my partner, that we do consulting together. And actually, he's a partner also in Max Effort Muscle. We got a new supplement line that's dropping too. So, like, those are the 3 main things I got going right now. The website, the book, and the new MaxEffortMuscle.com, which is our supplement company. So I build it all around the training. It's exciting. Look, I'm not a corporate dude. It was time for a change, and I'm having a blast with what I'm doing now.
Nice.
It's
Man,
a
good
lot
for
of
you.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun, man. So thank you guys.
Very cool.
I guess I'll end it. I want to let everybody know, if you listened to this show and you enjoyed it, go to barbellshrugged.com and sign up for the newsletter. You'll get all the updates when we do these new episodes and keep in the loop. So, and you'll help support the show as well. So,
Word. Thanks, guys.
McG,
Appreciate
you got to
coming.
give something epic too. You can't just back out like that.
Check out the Shrug Strength Challenge. Go and sign up for the free Shrug Strength Test. We'll give you a lot of different exercises to do, some tests, some imbalances and weaknesses, and then we'll continue to send you really cool content.
Wow, you actually did something. I was just fucking with you.
Man, that got me out of breath.
I know.
That was long-winded.
All right.
Snap me a Cory G Fitness. Let's go.
Later, pimps.
Thanks, Cory.
Yep.